Well, here it is, June 27th, Wednesday, about 7 a.m. I'm showing you the mileage on the Tundra, 124,533. This is the start of the journey to Alaska to spend a few weeks with Steven, and looking forward to the drive. It's going to be a long trip up there. Take a few days, but going to see some new territory. And I guess I'm not on any particular schedule, so I can just kind of take it at either a fast pace or a leisurely pace, or easy one day, hard the next. However it works out, I guess we'll just go with the flow and hope that we don't have any issues with vehicles or trouble like that, but I guess one never knows. So here we go again, about 7 a.m. on Wednesday, June 27th, start of Alaska trip, summer of 2018. Okay, here we are in East Grand Forks, gonna cross over into Grand Forks, North Dakota. It's just a little afternoon, so about 5 hours to get across the state of Minnesota. And smooth sailing. I think one pit stop. Probably when I get in Grand Forks, I think I'll gas up and that, and maybe get something to eat. But trip's going well so far. Of course, 5 hours or 200 just shy of 300 miles in a 3,100 mile trip is should be going well, I guess. We got a little road construction going on here. I guess it is the season. I think this is the first kind of road construction I've seen on the trip so far. Here we're going to cross over the bridge and get into North Dakota. The North Dakota sign. So here we are in state number 2. Well, here we are on the shores of Devil's Lake, North Dakota. You can see a couple of fishing boats out there maybe. This has some of the best walleye, perch fishing and waterfowl hunting of any place in the United States. And this lake, I guess, just keeps getting bigger and bigger and taking up more land and farmland and homes and stuff as it grows. Oh, better keep it on the road. So anyway, that's a corner of Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Well, I just crossed the border into Canada, so in Saskatchewan now. You can see all the flat land and then the oil rigs pumping off in the distance there. So it took me just shy of about 12 hours of driving. It's about just under 600 miles here to cross the border there north of Minot and that, so I'll probably drive another hour yet tonight and then figure out a place to crash a little bit and get back on the road again tomorrow. Lots of green and lots of oil wells. Well, here I am in Saskatchewan. Going to pitch this tent and try to anyway. First time. Watched a couple videos. Hopefully I can remember. I forgot my tripod, so I can't really show the whole process, but that's alright since I'm probably gonna take a little time to figure it out. But anyway, I'll show you different, I guess, clips here, or hopefully we'll get it all put up. So anyway, we'll give it a try. Well, there's my first attempt at putting up the North tent. Obviously I didn't get the diameter quite perfectly right, but I think for tonight, because there's no wind or not supposed to be any rain tonight, I don't think, it should be okay. Just to crawl in with the cot, sleeping bag, and catch a few hours. So it's a little bit tricky, I think, the first time or two to figure out the tension on the bottom, and I think I have it out, the diameter out a little bit too far, because then you could raise the center pole, get a little more tension on it. So, but for now I'm not gonna mess around anymore. It's getting late, I'm tired, I'm hungry, so I'll put up the cot, grab the sleeping bag, and I think I'm just gonna have peanut butter and jelly, or peanut butter actually tonight, maybe a Zevia and that, and hopefully, well, there are some bugs around, but hopefully they'll stay out of there if I can get that figured out right. So anyway, I'm gonna put up the cot for the night. Like I say, I think it's going to be a nice tent. It's just have to experiment with putting it up a couple of times, and I'll have to go through. I wrote down some instructions, but I thought I had it memorized and that, but maybe I didn't. So anyway, move on to the next thing. Okay, there's the cot set up. It actually sets up a little easier this time of year. I usually use it in the winter when we go winter camping, but when it's warmer like this, the mesh stretches a little bit more, so it goes together a lot easier. So I'm gonna get the pad, get my sleeping bag, pillow on there, get that stuff done. Alright, I got the Wiggy's pad underneath, and then the lightweight Wiggy's bag on top of that. So that should be plenty warm. It's kind of muggy right now, but I'm sure it'll cool off some as we get closer to dark. But so the bed's all set. I think I'm gonna grab a couple of clothes just to put in here and get my light, and that the basket that the cot comes in also hangs on the side, so then you can put your light, your lamp, your headlamp, whatever in there, anything you want. So we'll get a couple more things in and we'll be good to go. Well, here we are, the start of day 2. It's 7 a.m. Just left Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Heading now for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And then we'll hop on the highway, the Canadian highway, and head towards Edmonton tonight. I don't think I'll quite get there. It's just shy of 800 miles. I don't know if I'll go that far. I did just shy of 700 yesterday, so. But you see a lot of these big grain elevators, and obviously a big part of their economy is the farming industry. And I'm not seeing much in oil wells now on this side of Weyburn, although up to Weyburn, across top of North Dakota there, and then southern Saskatchewan, lots of oil wells. So anyway, another day's journey begins. Well, here it is, start of day 3 in Edmonton, Alberta. I stayed at the Holiday Inn last night to get a good shower and a good sleep. And that, so it's 7 a.m. Starting out for day 3. We'll hit the Alaska Highway today and get into some hillier, more scenic areas, I believe. Going across the prairie is pretty flat and kind of nondescript, although there were a couple nice areas that were interesting as you're flying by on the freeway. But anyway, I think we're soon out of freeway until we hit up in Alaska by Anchorage. So anyway, we'll shoot for our 600-800 miles again today, and hopefully the weather will be nice and no issues. So on the road again. Not sure if this is showing up, but we're getting into some elevation in and out. So we just an hour out of Edmonton, heading down this Alaskan highway and starting to pick up some good climbs a little bit. So obviously it's now wooded compared to 2 days of prairie driving. Flat and boring, but this is kind of pleasant in comparison. So here's a nice panoramic view, if you can see this, between the bug splatters and so forth. But again, we're starting to get a little more hilly, and solid woods, forest. Not seeing any more agriculture in this area. Still on a 4-lane highway. I don't know when that'll end, but I'm sure it will at some point. But man, this has been an easy trip so far on the Alaskan highway. Alright, here's an interesting part of the road. We're going down a 6% grade into this valley here, which is quite stunning. There was just a big stop up above there where trucks were supposed to check their brakes before they come roaring down this hill. Hopefully you can see some of this. Like I say, it's Quite an impressive bit of terrain in here. Looks like an oil refinery up here. I don't know if you can see the flames where they burn off the gases, I guess, is how it works. So anyway, just passing a van here. So yeah, this grade here must be, oh, I don't know, maybe close to 2 miles long. Coming down that hill. So very interesting terrain. Well, now we're starting to see some of the mountains off in the distance. I'm between Fort St. John and Fort Nelson. The road is awesome as far as the quality. I've only seen a couple deer. There have been a lot of signs to watch for moose, but nothing's showing up yet. I've been on the road now 9 hours today. Probably still going to do another 3 or 4 hours, I'm anticipating. And then maybe I'll either find a rest area to pull over or a campground to pull into, something like that. So we're seeing the terrain change again, a lot of up and down hills and that, but not a lot of traffic for the most part. So everything's going well so far today. What's kind of amazing to think about is when the first crews came through to make this Alaskan highway back in the 40s, when there was concern about, I guess, Alaska being invaded during World War II, which it was by the Japanese briefly. So they decided to build this road. And man, just thinking about that and how this highway is now compared to what it was in those days is unbelievable. There's a better picture. Pretty awesome scenery right now. Again, I'm about 100 miles kind of southeast of Fort Nelson. It's about 5 p.m. now here. So I've been on the road now about 10 hours. Still feeling good. Gonna keep on heading down the road. So I stopped at one of the wayside rests, and across the highway is this sign. And seen a few of them on the way. Haven't seen any moose, although a few miles back there was a black bear on the ditch eating some grass and stuff, so I didn't stop or anything. I just kind of went by. So I've seen a couple deer, and that's about it as far as wildlife so far, although I just heard on the radio that to be on the lookout for bison on the highway as you approach the Yukon border, which is still a ways down the road. I just pulled over the side of the road here. I'm west of Fort Nelson, probably 20-25 miles, and I think this is one of the top peaks in the area here that the road goes over. But you can see how absolutely gorgeous this valley is. So it's quite stunning. And then down in the valley here, it's really quite picturesque. I just saw another bear, about 5 miles back on the road, come out from the woods into the ditch area just as I was going by. So well, I finally got a picture of one of the bears. That's the fourth one. Whoop. Not too worried about anything. Just walking along the ditch and so, like I say, that's the fourth one I've seen now. I just saw a fox a couple miles back on the road as well, so a little bit of wildlife out here. Okay, here's another piece of wildlife. There's a nice elk there. So this peak you're seeing here is called Stone Mountain because there appears to be no vegetation on this particular mountain, which is quite interesting. Very unique, I guess. I've not seen that before. So again, there's no vegetation on there. It's pretty cool. This whole kind of range here is all this stone. I guess that's why they call it Stone Mountain. And there's some caribou. They're not too much in a hurry. Wow, this is really something here. Just another couple miles from the caribou. There's some sheep up there. Mountain sheep. I don't think I can get them. So yeah, this is quite something. So on this stretch now, I've seen bear, one elk, a fox, 2 caribou. There were just 3 sheep on the mountainside, which I couldn't get them in the camera. I can't really stop on this road, but this is quite beautiful. Well, there's the first moose of the trip. A nice cow. She's not too worried about anything. Drinking water here out of the ditch. Okay, traffic coming, so gotta roll. Well, this is just past the moose, but down on the river bottom here. Again, this particular last few hours of this trip has been quite something. There's another cow and then her calf, which is just over here. There's the calf. She's kind of hunched down there. Not too concerned. The calf is really light brown. Well, okay, this is pretty cool. This is just down from that cow and that calf. So I think that's a cow out in the river or the lake here. And then there's a smaller bull. So I'm up on the roadway here, and this is down below. She's sticking her head in the water, browsing. I can hear her way up here when she's walking, splashing in the water. Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, I tell you, this evening's trip has been quite something with all the wildlife. Now it's late, it's almost 10 p.m. So I've been on the road 15 hours. But boy, this last, couple 3 hours of this trip has been really something. So, time to mosey on down the road a little bit. Gonna try and find a place to crash here pretty soon. So, anyway, this is quite a picture. Well, let's see what this guy is gonna do. Just feeding, I guess. Okay, that's enough of these guys. Couldn't pass up this shot. I don't know if this is showing up, but there is a rainbow over there. There you go. On that side of the mountain. That is stunning. So it's not often, I guess, you can get a video of a rainbow, but that's quite brilliant. I just saw another moose here about a half a mile back on the road. Another cow. But couldn't pass up this shot either. What an evening. Well, here I think is going to be my resting stop for tonight. It's about 11:15 in the evening, which looks like dusk back home or whatever, but I think this is the Muncho River and that, so it's really flying by. So actually I'm just gonna call in the truck, I think, for tonight. And the road is over there, but I pulled off this clearing. There's kind of a turnout there, and then this little bit of a driveway here down towards the river. So I'll pull the truck in there and try and catch a few hours of sleep before I get back on the road again in the morning. I think I have about 1,100 miles, I estimate, left to get to Soldotna. So still a good day to day and a half. So a few mosquitoes out here, that's for sure. So I think I'm gonna get situated and see if I can catch some sleep. Alright, here's a herd of bison along the road, just down from where I was camped a bit ago. And these are all wild, is my understanding. Obviously, this is a spot where they hang around a lot because there's wallows down there and stuff. Pretty amazing. I just saw another black bear back there a bit ago as well. That's a good sized bull there. A couple of them. Yeah, that's a big boy there. Just come across the road. I've seen several bison today. One big herd, a couple singles like this. He's hungry, so we'll let him eat. My goal today is to get maybe into Alaska. I know I'm not going to make it all the way down to Soldotna, but maybe I can get across the border and into Tok in that area and then stay overnight. Then probably have, maybe 500 miles to go. So, anyway, we'll see how that works out. There's another bear and his shoulder, the side. That makes number 13 as far as bears. They just come out on the shoulders to eat grass and maybe find some ants. There's an ant hill, but mostly vegetation. And yeah, I haven't seen that many bears before, ever. Probably haven't seen that many, well, maybe in my lifetime, but it's definitely lots of wildlife in this area anyway. Don't know if you just saw that, but a little dust tornado come across the parking lot here. So I stopped briefly, take a little short rest here at one of the rest areas. I'm just west of Haines Junction, Yukon Territory, and that heading towards Tok, Alaska. So, and you can see the mountain range here just a little bit to the southwest. Snow on the peaks. And yeah, looking pretty good. Well, it's day 5 of the trip. I'm headed out at Tok, Alaska this morning. I got into Tok last night, got into Alaska, but have about 500 miles to go to get to Stevens. So again, we're running into some of the beautiful Alaskan scenery now with the peaks off in the distance, cloudy and overcast, which was a lot of yesterday. Driving, rain, light rain, a few deluges down and stuff. So I stayed in a motel in Tok last night. Didn't want to set up the tent in the rain or that. So Besides the day before, I think I did almost 17 hours of driving and then slept in the truck, which wasn't obviously the most comfortable, but it worked. So I needed a nice shower and a bed, which I got last night. So it was worth it. So now I figure I've got 9 to 10 hours on the road today. Get in that 500 miles. We'll be going through Anchorage later, the biggest city in Alaska. And then up the Seward Highway into Soldotna. And then I can relax and get moving again. Sitting for 5 days is not the best for you. My legs feel just kind of weak, you know, from sitting and not doing much of anything. But driving, you get out, you gas up, you walk around a little bit, but it's still not enough to keep your circulation flowing nicely, so you get a little swollen legs just from sitting so much. So it'll be nice to move around, maybe start doing some fishing here at some point and catch a few fish. I know some folks back in Minnesota want some fish, so we'll see if we can accommodate them at all and get them a little something. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at so far today, and the final leg. And so far the trip has been really smooth and haven't had any issues. So I'm quite pleased with how it's gone so far, and don't expect to have any difficulties the rest of the way. I'm shooting off in the distance here. There's a glacier between those two mountains. Hopefully it shows up a little bit. Looks like it's receding, obviously. I saw a couple glaciers last year when I was up here, but yeah, it's, and then here's more of the range here with the snow covered, with the jazz music in the background. I'm still, about 120 miles away from Anchorage. There's kind of an unusual rock formation ahead. And again, it's quite beautiful here in this valley, with glaciers around. Lots of turnoffs. People pull off to take some pictures or whatever, but I'm doing video in lieu of taking out the cell phone and shooting a picture or two, although I guess it would make a nice Instagram photo. But for now, I guess I'm more excited to keep on the road and get to my destination than to shoot scenery at this point. I'm sure in the next few weeks I'll have time to do that. So we'll just keep moving ahead. Well, this is almost the end of the trip. Up ahead, I think you can see it, is Mount Redoubt. Actually, the clouds are not present today. Most of the time you can't see that. And so we're only about 4 miles from Stephen. So just about done. All right, we're here at Stevens. So here's my ending mileage. And let's flip the button here. 3,312.7 miles in 5 days from Minnesota to Soldotna. So that's the end of this part of the trip, and I am glad for it to be over. The driving, that is.